a matter of moments from now. Well, let's turn our attention this morning to the probe into the Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation Ministry. As a follow-up to the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation probe, we hear that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has summoned 20 senior directors and officials of that ministry. Some of them, we understand, were questioned by investigators at the EFCC headquarters on Thursday. The latest development from there is following a detailed investigation report on the ministry, as well as recommendations by the ICPC to the EFCC on Tuesday. Joining me for more on this is Public and Political Affairs Analyst Ken Okolugbo. Mr. Okolugbo, good morning, and thank you for joining us on the program.
Good morning. It's a pleasure having me. Thank you for having me.
Indeed it is. The probe is now being widened to uncover various financial improprieties that might have been carried out since the ministry was created in 2019. What do you make of this new development?
Oh, yes. I think what the EFCC is doing is exactly what should have been done a long time ago. We have called for, before now, even before Tinubu's administration, the probe of that humanitarian ministry, especially if you remember in 2020 during COVID, when they said that there was a school feeding program and people were being fed. Nigeria there was a general outcry that how can people be fed during COVID? Well, you see, all these outcry were swept under the carpet. And so if the probe is done from 2019, it will be a holistic probe that would actually unearth what has been happening in that ministry. And it's actually very sad that a ministry that was created to take charge of those who have been disadvantaged, those who have been in the downtrodden Nigerians, those who are living in abject poverty and squalor, has been enmeshed in one scandal after the other. So President Tinubu has taken the bull by the horn and has decided to go all the hog from 2019. You know, initially he said he was going to inherit the demerits and the merits of the past administration. But like I said on this station, that Tinubu's policies will be very different from Buhari's policies. A lot of people didn't understand when I was saying it. I have been proved right by the fact that now there is a proof of the past administration, and it has started gradually.
You know, some sources say the fraud that was carried out in the ministry is very massive and that it spans across several projects and programs executed over the past years, from the immediate past administration right into the new one. Also, ex-Minister Sadiya, Betta Edu, and Ali Mashehu are not the only ones being quizzed. We hear that several civil servants and ministry officials were involved too. But would you say that we have a rich history of success with anti-graft agencies in cases of this nature?
Oh, yes. We've not had a history of success because sometimes they always play to the gallery and they go on media trial. But I think the new EFCC chairman is determined not to go on media trial. He's determined to go to the roots of the matter. And if you look at it, it's when the head is rotten, the entire body is rotten. President Tinubu's body language and actions have sent a clear message, if I should say. It's a clear message to the anti-graft body that I am not going to tolerate corruption. Yes, if you look at in the time past, when the former Minister of Aviation, Stella Odua, was accused of corruption, it took a long while before Jonathan acted on it. Even the past SSG and head of service under Buhari, when they were accused of corruption, it took a very long while before Buhari. In fact, Buhari kept setting panels after panels, headed by Malami, headed by the vice president, instead of taking the actions that he was supposed to have done by suspending and actually allowing an unfettered investigation. Now, this is exactly what is happening here. So EFCC would have no choice but to go into the roots of the matter. And it's also a call for the EFCC because there are so many pending investigations that have not been brought into the limelight. Let it not be that this one has broken because it's trending. Then EFCC would take actions. They should take actions for those ones that are gathering dust in their office and let us know what has been happening to most of the actions, like the the forensic report on the NDDC, we still need to have the report published and know exactly the companies that actually carry out infractions that they have talked about in the NDDC. But in the humanitarian ministry, it's sad that Sadiya Farouk would feign ignorance over 37 billion, and with the optics, with the companies, and with the details that have shown that these were funds that should ordinarily not have been, will I say, misapplied now because the investigation has not been concluded. And one would also have expected that Betta Edu, who was the immediate past woman leader to the APC, knowing how the president came on a renewed hope agenda, will lift the bar. The optics are also not looking too good, but they have not finished the investigations. So as much as the optics are not looking good, I also expect her to be given that right of a fair hearing, which I think the president has decided to give her by suspending her and allowing EFCC carry out that investigation. But when you write a memo and you ask for funds to be credited into the account of an individual, when you oblige your colleague, the Minister of Interior, a company that he still has shares in, a consultancy contract for 438 million, it doesn't tell well of a government that wants to fight corruption. The Minister of Interior came on air, and I don't know who actually advised him to come on air to actually defend that position, and actually said that it is only when he has awarded a contract to that company that there would have been conflict of interest. He's very wrong. Even in lottery, they tell you that friends and family should not participate for those who are staffs of the lottery organization. You can't be a serving minister and your wife is a director of a company and you have shares in that company, and you say you're taking a contract as huge as 438 million in consultancy, and you say there is no conflict of interest. So all these are issues that are going to be unraveled by the EFCC. And the EFCC,
you seem to have brought in the issue with the Minister of Interior into the conversation. Perhaps we talk about it for a bit. So I understand your position, but are you also saying categorically that once you are a part of your government, your family member, or your family members have lost the right to secure contracts with government?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I was made a commissioner when I was 40, and we happened to be at the time that we had a governor that gave us a free hand. So we had billions in terms of our budget, and we could influence contracts. That was the truth, being the ones representing our ethnic nationalities. I have a company in construction. I have a passion for construction. And I divested my interest, and my wife was in charge of my company as at that time. But you can never find my company doing any government contract. I could easily have asked my colleagues to award contracts to Kenko, my company, as at that time. I have never done any government contract, as tempting as it was.
Go ahead, Mr. Okolugbo. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right.
As tempting as it was,
yes,
I did not allow that happen. What am I trying to say? There is always that conflict of interest when you have a company and that company benefits from the government you're serving in. There is no way you can tell anybody that you did not influence it. Yes, we have not said that the Minister of Interior diverted the whole for 38 million. But what was the process of bidding for that project? How was his company able to get the contract awarded to the company? And out of the 3 billion that was used for consultancy, it was spread sort of. So it wasn't like, well, he took the larger chunk of it. And that leaves a whole lot of questions for Nigerians to ask. Because you see, Nigerians we're going through a lot. The economy is having an inflation at an all-time high of 27.9% as at November. And you see, sadly, this government has the highest misery index we have had in the history of Nigeria, unemployment and inflation. And you don't have a ministry that has been created to put money in the pockets of the people, which we